Hey, this is Brother Peter, Tidbits from the Word. I'm turning pages this morning. We're going to name this one Crowns. I'm turning pages this morning, just asking the Lord to show me some things that I already have covered years and years and years in my life. And I'm just browsing through this morning, and I'm looking at these precious gifts that God gave me. That everything that I lay my eyes on here are the jewels that I have. I do not have to have a $500 or a $5,000 diamond ring on this finger to run around and everybody can see. The jewel that I have is I want this $5,000. I want this $1 billion. Matter of fact, I want this eternal diamond that I get from the Lord within inside of me, so that this diamond inside of me can get big enough and bright enough so it shines from the inside to the outside. And when people meet me, I don't need a diamond on my finger. They'll know I am a diamond. I'm a whole diamond, and I'm supposed to shine like a diamond. You remember, if you've read the stories in the Old Testament, how Moses, he got close enough to God that when he came off the mountain, he shined like a light. Man, do you know we're supposed to shine like a light? Do you shine like a light? Do people ask you, hey, are you a preacher? Do people ask you that? People say, do people even say to you, are you a Christian, one of them Christians? Do people say to you, do you go to church somewhere? Do people say anything to you that reflects God? It's, oh man, I heard a preacher talking the other day. He told a story about a fellow came to a preacher and said, hey, does so-and-so go to your church? And he said, yeah. Well, he said, you know, I just got saved and I found out. I come down there and I saw him. But you know, I've worked with him 20 years and I never would have ever believed he was a Christian. I would have never believed he went to church. Is that what people think of you? Have you been sitting in the church for years? Do the people in the church even know that you know the Lord? Have you ever made a trip to the altar? Have you ever got out of your pew, went down and bowed your knee in front of the church at the altar? You say, well, I'm too proud to do that. Well, maybe you're too proud to serve God. Maybe you were too proud to even get in. Maybe you're still too proud and you hadn't got in yet. Maybe you've been sitting 20 years in the church listening to the preacher saying, I'm going to do that one of these days. I'm going to do that one of these days. I'm going to do that one of these days. God spoke to you. He spoke to you. And He spoke to you. Some of you are sitting there and God ain't never going to speak to you again. You're going to come in and you look around with amazement. And you got, like our preacher said, you got poochy lips. You got a heart of stone. And you're sitting there, and you're miserable when you come in, and you're miserable when you go out, and you're miserable around your family, and you're miserable around your friends, and people around you know you're miserable, and you're just a miserable soul, and you may live the rest of your life and die a miserable soul. May God have mercy on you. If you're watching this, you ask the Lord for mercy and say, God, I need some mercy. Please visit me one more time. I will go down to that altar. Ask God to visit you one more time. If you're watching this and you're a miserable, wretched human being, just ask Him to visit you one more time and give you the opportunity to turn loose of that pew, get on down there and make it right. Do you know what? On what you think in your mind is not the truth. Everybody's not going to be looking at you and saying, well, look at that rascal. He's been making like he's been saved all these years. And that may be the truth. And maybe it's time for you to own up to that and get right so that you aren't make-believe. You really become something. And I'm going to tell you this. Once you become something, then you can be something. You can grow. You can sit in the church and die and go to hell and never be anything. All right, some of the things I was looking at this morning, the Lord said here, now that you've become mine, and now that you got in the Word, and now that you're learning the Word, feed the flock of God, which is among you. Feed your brothers and sisters. You don't have to be a preacher. All you got to do is be a Christian. Those of you who are watching me this morning, who are Christians, feed those around you. How do you feed them? You feed them by being good food yourself. Whatever you feed yourself and however you grow, you can pass that on. Do you know, I'm 68. I don't take any pills. I don't have to take any kind of medicine, no blood pressure. I got my tonsils. I've got my appendix. I've got all the things that I was born with. I've had no operations, and God has done very well for me. Now, I don't have any teeth except these store-bought ones, but I got those. You know why I got store-bought big teeth? Because I didn't take care of the ones God gave me. And because I didn't take care of them, bam, they were gone. You talk about misery. Hey, I went through some misery with them teeth. I'm here to tell you now. Some pain, some long suffering, some trouble. And finally one day I said, I'm not going to have this. I'm ending this right now. I had, bam, I went and had them pulled. And by the way, if you're living in misery and trouble and things because you haven't asked Jesus into your heart and take care of your life and everything and started following him, you need to do that so that it's like getting those teeth out of the way. All right, feed the flock, he said, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint but willing, not by filthy lucre, but for a ready mind, neither as being lords over God's heritage, but being examples to the flock. Being examples to the flock around you. Now, I know who this is talking to. You're going to say, Brother Peter, this is talking to guys that are going to be preachers. Well, I got news for you this morning. Whether you know it or not, you're a preacher. You are a preacher. You're preaching with what you do with your body. If you don't think you are, your child, if you smoke and watch your child a little later on in life, you're going to see him do exactly like you do. He's going to drink coffee, that hold a cup the same way. If you sip your coffee like that, you know what? There's a good chance when he starts drinking coffee, he's going to go, why? Because his daddy did it. Because his mama did it. You're a teacher. If you don't think you're a teacher, watch your children as they get older. They're going to do what you do. You've done taught them that. And you teach by what you do. You don't teach exactly by what you say. You're going to teach more by what you do than what you say. If you do, if you act on the Word of God, act. I can show you some people right now that I see that are acting right now on the Word of God, acting on some things that I've been acting on for years and years and years. And some people are just now getting it. They're just now getting it. Get out of your pew. Shake hands with somebody. Be friendly. Go around. Meet everybody in the church. Do you know how long it takes to go through 400 people? And in the morning or the afternoon or whenever you get to church, you know how long it takes? It takes about 12, 13, 14 minutes. Get there early, 15 minutes early, and you can talk. You can influence 400 people in 15 minutes. Easy. Bam, just like that. And then go sit down. If you got if you can gear down enough to sit down. I have a hard time sitting down. I'm sure that sometimes the choir and the preacher says, that bird, I wish he'd sit down. He's still roaming. But I like to see everybody. I like when the Lord sticks somebody in my mind, I look at a face and I say, there's a face right there that needs his hand shook. There's a face right there that needs a little love. There's somebody right there that needs a hug. There's somebody right there just needs somebody to just speak to him. They came to church. Nobody knows them here. And ain't nobody spoke to him yet. Why haven't they spoke to him? There's 200, 300 people around there. Why haven't they spoke to somebody? Listen, will you get in gear? If you're in a church, if you're watching this, you probably say, I'm a Christian. Well, do you think you're a Christian or are you a Christian? Do you think? Good question, isn't it? Do you think you're a Christian or are you a Christian? If you are, let's start acting like it. Let's get on the ball. Let's start acting like we're gods. If we act like we're gods and we can prove we're gods, when the devil comes along, we can put our hand up and say, hey, hold it, big boy, right there. You done come as close as you coming. I belong to Jesus Christ. You cannot come in here. You cannot come through these eyes. You cannot come through these ears. You cannot come into this life. This life belongs to Jesus Christ. If you don't think he'll visit you, just look back a few minutes or look back at yesterday and say, where did he come? And you'll find out that he did come yesterday and visit you. Did you spurn him off or did you take